All right, welcome everyone to another edition of Pathways Virtual Academy. Those of you who have been with me for a while may have noticed a slight change in the name. I removed the term support because I'm opening this up to absolutely everyone, and sometimes that word virtual support, they think, oh, yeah. So this is Virtual Academy. It's open to anyone and everyone who has questions about Pathways. And I have just set up a whole series of meetings clear into, I believe, March of next year. My plan is to continue doing these once a week as much as possible. There may be a few weeks where I'm not able to because of other things going on, or snowstorms, or the cat sat on my internet connection. I never know what's going to happen. Last week I had to cancel just because of a whole series of events that landed on the same night, and something had to give. So welcome everyone to the Virtual Academy. See, I'm still getting used to the name. This is a session for questions, answers, and kind of a guided tour of Pathways to try to get as much information about Pathways out to our members and those who support them, as well as to drum up support and interest for Pathways. With that, I have the wrong presentation loaded. So I am going to switch to a different presentation because I want to talk about the AAA award, because we have extended those. There it is, AAA presentation. Then we'll go to page 2 and fire it up to the wrong, there we go. Now we are looking at Pathways AAA Award. For those of you who are familiar with it, this is familiar. It is Kate Arnold's brainchild to get the current seasoned membership interested, involved, excited, enthusiastic, and just gung-ho for Pathways by getting people involved. So often there are so many people that just kind of get this Pathways constipation. They don't want to move forward because they're worried about something, and we have found the best way to move forward and deal with Pathways is just to get involved. Because once you're in there, and once you're moving around and looking at various projects and getting familiar with it, I believe that you are going to have the same experience that I've been having, which is that I am really enjoying the gems and the nuggets and the interesting little bits that I find in Pathways that are so very, very different than the traditional program. So the Pathways AAA Award is geared towards getting people into Pathways. The Early Adopter Award, get in there and do your icebreaker. The Early Advisor Award is simply to share your knowledge with someone else. And then the Early Achiever is, hey, finish up that level 1 in any one of the 10 paths, and by golly, I will mail you that Be Extraordinary pin that you see on your screen right now. And somewhere off to the side of my screen, I think my cat has used it for a toy because it's under the desk. So my cat has moved my prop under my desk. So I will mail you one of those Be Extraordinary pins that you see on the screen right there. And to date, we have 4 people that have completed the Pathways AAA Award that I have mailed them pins. Believe me, I have plenty of pins. I would love to mail out more pins. I really like the post office. It's very nice this time of year. So please complete your Pathways AAA Award. If you do not have a copy of this email with the links in it, and now that I look at it, this is the old email because we've extended the deadlines. If you would like a copy of the new email, I will be glad to send that out. In fact, I'm going to make a note of myself just to send it out for good measure so that everybody has the current links. Okay, there's my to-do list. That is my shameless plug. Thank you for the bell. The bell, there. We're moving on. I don't know who rang the bell. That was great. Now, we are into Pathways. This is a screenshot of the old Toastmasters webpage, which I am changing because they have changed their webpage. So let's switch it to, oh, it's actually on my desktop. So if I just close that. After I get out of the presentation and minimize it, we should have somewhere back here are the cat videos. No. Back here is Toastmasters International webpage. Fantastic. And let's make sure. Yes, everybody is now looking at a live shot of the Toastmasters webpage. And I am going to, no, I'm getting some feedback on a couple of channels. And there, okay. We got rid of some background noise, so hopefully that'll work out better. What we are looking at right now is a live shot of the Toastmasters International webpage. As you can see, right here on the browser is a new tab that showed up just about a month ago, a little bit less than a month ago, called Pathways. This is brand new to the Toastmasters International webpage. This did not exist until about 3 weeks ago, which is fantastic. It is here now because you can see directly on your webpage that you now have a tab that is specifically for Pathways. So you can click on that and have access to Basecamp, taking the assessment, choosing a path. All of the options are right here so that you can point someone directly to the Pathways tab and they won't get lost. They might get lost, but not because there is not a Pathways tab. So once you have discovered the Pathways tab, select either access my path through Basecamp or go to Basecamp. Both of those hyperlinks appear to take you to the same place, which is this page, the Pathways Learning Experience. Front page right before you get to Basecamp, where you can either choose your path, access your camp, or run through the navigator. I'm going to switch to my home club because I've been logged in as a Pathways guide. If you are a member in one club, you will not see this drop-down arrow. You will only have the one club you can log into. If you're a member of multiple clubs, this is where you can log in to a different club to interact with those members. This is very important because this very week, when I asked a member of my club to do something for me on Pathways, she called me back and let me know that she could not find me on Pathways because I was still logged in as a Pathways guide. So it's very important that if you try to interact with people in your club, that you select the correct club to interact with them through. And right now I had to back up because it didn't want to log me into that club, and I'm going to try it again. And the browser is taking its time. I love technology. Yes, go, tech, T. I'm not going to dance. That's going to be terrible. That's going to be bad for everybody. So it is taking its moment. And checking. No, I got good signal everywhere else. There was a note about there are closing down certain aspects of Toastmasters shop because they're doing their annual inventory. I don't believe that affects their webpage, but it very well might. I'm going to close my browser and pop it back up again to see if it's merely me and a browser issue, which it has been. But speaking of browser issues, I have heard from multiple people that Microsoft Edge and Google Chrome have not been playing very well with Pathways lately. Hopefully that will change. If you know a member that is having difficulty with Pathways, ask them what their browser is. If it is either Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome, suggest they try a different browser. That may actually clear up the situation. Speaking of browser issues, we're looking at a giant white screen of possibilities within the worldwide interwebs. They are clogged right now.
Boy, I'm glad I'm not the only one that this happens to.
Let me check. I got to check and see if my cat's doing her cat videos right now, because she uses up a lot of bandwidth when she plays her cat videos. It is not. All right. Whoa, there goes my processor. It is gone. Happy time. So let's see if we can go directly to the page and see if we get anything else coming up. Okay, so Easy Speak is coming up, so it is not a browser issue. It is a web page issue. So we're getting a lot of traffic on Toastmasters International homepage. We know the Jeopardy theme? That's definitely not the Jeopardy theme. I don't know what I was doing. That might have been a mix of A-Team and Mission Impossible.
I'm also having trouble, so I think it is their site.
There it is. Woohoo! Somebody said the magic word. I think the magic word is I am also having trouble. That conjures the Toastmasters genie to fix things. Because if it's just one person, the genie won't show up. But if it's more than one person, poof, the genie is there. Okay, now I shall log in again, as I am wont to do, because my name is Wants.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, cheap name humor. Yeah, Patrick, do you ever get locked out of websites?
Once in a while.
All right, so here, access my path. There we are. We're now at Pathways Learning Experience. We're almost back to where we started. I'm going to select, yes, New Horizons. I shall log in as a member. And here we go, right to Basecamp. Woo! Basecamp is here. All right. Over the last couple weeks, since the TLI session, I have received several requests for help and other questions with basic Basecamp operations. I want to start with two of those that are pretty important, especially as people are just getting into Pathways and getting familiar with it. I tend to move further and talk about some of the more technical side of things, but today, for right now, I'm going to focus on a couple of basic issues. The first basic issue is how do you get to your path once you are here in Basecamp Manager? As you can see across the bottom, underneath the three lovely pictures at the top, are 5 blue buttons. If you want to get to the information in your path, you have 2 ways on this homepage. The first and most obvious is the My Education Transcript button. The second and not as obvious is this hot link box right down here that is your education, in case My Education Transcript, that has a link directly to recent projects that I have been looking at or working on. Now, if you're brand new into Pathways, you're not going to have a whole lot of stuff in this box right here. So your best bet is to click on the My Education Transcript button, which takes you to your education transcript, which shows a list of absolutely everything that you have looked at or been interested in, or tutorials or resources that you have looked at within Pathways. This leads me to kind of the second part of the first question. If you notice, there are various icons down the left-hand side. What those icons mean. This first icon, which is a folder with kind of a disk and a piece of paper sticking out of it, that is a resource icon. That's either an evaluation overview, an evaluation itself, or some other explanatory material that you access through tutorials or some of the other screens. It is not actually a Pathway curriculum. The Pathway curriculums show up as these stacked books. You can see that I have 3 of them. I have my Pathways Guide Tasks, which is a curriculum of its own, the Pathways Mentor Program, which I was invited to become a part of as soon as I finished level 2, and then my primary path that I'm working on, which is Presentation Mastery. Now, there is also this third icon, which is the icon of a screen. That represents videos that you have looked at or are going to look at that maybe you clicked on at some point and you watched part of it and you closed it down again. If you've clicked on anything within Pathways, it will show up in your educational transcript right here. Now, it does not mean that it is part of your official path and that you have to complete everything that pops up. This is just showing you all of the various things that you have looked at. If you want to mark them complete, you are not marking them complete in the sense of you completed a part of your path. You're simply saying, okay, I am done looking at that resource and I'm going to put it back on the shelf again. So don't worry if you're getting freaked out with this mark complete because you didn't have a project you completed and how can you complete it? If it's one of the icons that is the folder or the video icon, don't worry a single bit about it. If it is one of these Pathway stacked books, you won't have that option. So you don't have to worry about marking complete. you have the open curriculum button, which is exactly what you want to do to get into your main path. So once you click on the open curriculum button, that brings you into your own personalized Love It path. As you can see on the left-hand side, you have a whole list of exactly what you have done per level. In other words, you've completed level 1 or level 2 or level 3, where you work, as well as a progress indicator. And then the active path is on the right-hand side with the sub-projects. So don't worry about changing or marking complete items within your education transcript that are evaluation resources or other items that you may have opened up. It's not going to be a problem whatsoever. They'll stick around. In fact, I'm going to back up and show you where they go. Right here in the upper left is this active tab. You've got an active list, a completed list, and an archive list. If you click on the completed list, which I'm doing right now, it changes my view to absolutely all of the various items that I have opened and looked at so far in my journey through Pathways. These are ones that I have used, taken a peek at, either printed out or I watched them and I was done with them, so I marked them complete and stuck them away.
Yeah.
So then I'm staying directly on my active path right here. Let's go back into Presentation Mastery and open that curriculum. The second question that I was getting most often in the last couple weeks was, how do I get this darn little red and white check mark next to my path, my project inside of the path? It just doesn't show up. Multiple people have had difficulty getting the system to mark that they have completed their path. Usually, it's a very simple thing, but it's only simple once you've done it. If you haven't done it, it's not so simple. That's why we're explaining it. For example, right here in Managing Difficult Audience, if I hadn't completed this one yet, I would click on the launch, which I can still do now even though I have completed this, and it pops up the additional pop-up window with the curriculum that it is currently loading right now in the background. Once you, let's see, the easiest way to make sure you're going to get that check mark, and the best way that it shows up, is if you see the page in your curriculum that says, and we're waiting for it, it should pop up any second. Oh, not your evaluation. You go all the way here, this page right here. Once you see this page, congratulations. You can then close your pop-up browser window, and that check mark will show up if it's the first time you're doing this. Often what I have discovered is that individuals are getting to this point right here. They've read through the explanatory material, they've taken the pretest, and they get to the page where they can print out their evaluation, print their project, and look at the, like for my case in this situation, the role play assignments. So they download all of that information, they talk to their VPE in the club, they set up and schedule their speech, and then they give their speech, and then they come back in here and they don't know how to complete the project. Once you have given your speech, come back in, then arrow after the evaluation resource. The next arrow is the assess your skills after you have completed your project. This is a very crucial part of project completion within Pathways. They want you to look at your skills before you do the project and then again after you do the project so you can see what you have learned in the process. Personally, when I started this, I thought it was like, oh great, here I go, clicking, 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 big deal. But then I started to realize something was happening. The projects that I wasn't already familiar with, in other words, the new ones, the brand new ones, for example, the project that I'm doing now inside of level 4, create a podcast, my pretest, actually the numbers were like, you know, I don't really know about this. And they were noticeably lower than I would have thought if I was doing a project that I was familiar with. I noticed this in previous elective projects where I wasn't familiar with the material as well. And that became a clue to me as like, okay, this is what I'm going to learn and this is what I'm going to focus on, but I don't really know where it fits completely. If you look here at the numbers on my dealing with, how shall we say, difficult audiences. Beforehand, I gave myself 3, 4, 4, and 4. And then after, I pulled in 4s on those. I've done the difficult audiences presentations before in the traditional program. And I used this project for the TLI presentations because I knew I'd have interrupters and know-it-alls and technical people and silent people and all the different various tidbits that we usually get with difficult audiences. And the reality was, every single person, all of those people played their roles and they didn't even know they were playing them. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I couldn't have planned it better myself. Anyway, okay, so evil warlord aside, I was able to come back in here and realize that, yes, I can deal with difficult audiences and be confident without it being a role play. I didn't have to know that somebody was going to play this role and somebody was going to play that role, and which is what I'd done before. This was kind of those dry run. And I didn't know who was going to be doing what. And it really helped me see that I could be confident in a situation where there were multiple things going on. So when I came back to do my after assessment, I bumped that one up to a 4. I didn't go to a 5 because, well, I'm not perfect. Sorry guys, I'm not. I really am not perfect. So I wasn't really comfortable with giving myself a 5 on that. But I could honestly say that I felt a lot more confident after giving the presentation than I felt that I would have been before. So that is a double whammy there. It's where you end your project through the self-assessment, as well as the reason why I'm finding them so helpful. Once you've completed the after assessment, it shows you a list of your scores. Then click, very important, absolute important step, click the right arrow so that you see the congratulations window. Once you see this window and close that browser window right there, if you didn't have, you see how it just did that re-update? It was looking back at my project to see if I'd changed anything, and then it was refreshing everything that's on my screen. In that moment, that's when that little red check mark would show up. Okay, technically it's a white check mark in a red background. A maroon background. Okay. Anyway, we know what we're talking about in this sense of having a check mark show up in the project. That has been probably the most frequently asked question in the last couple weeks. Most people were trying to figure out how to get the check mark to show up on their icebreaker. Now, the third part of this question is that your vice president of education only becomes involved in your pathways process when you complete a level. Many people were thinking that they had to get their VPE involved in completing each of the projects. No, the completion of the projects is entirely up to you, and it's you working with the software, the pop-up boxes, the evaluation resources, the video resources, and any of the other resources that you actually activate. And then the completion of that project is also up to you to get that check mark so you can move on to the next project. Now, technically, it is possible to receive the check mark before you have completed the project. For example, this level 4 check mark, for those of you who were with me, I think it was 3 weeks ago, the week right before TLI, I actually stepped through this project, went through the post-assessment to show people what it looked like, just so they could see it, and completed the project even before I'd given my speech. So yes, it is possible to complete your projects before you give your speech. Now, that doesn't mean that you're off the hook. That doesn't mean that you don't have to worry about it. That just simply means that as far as the Pathways interface is concerned, you have completed that part of the project. Now it's up to you to go out into the real world, to do the legwork, to get on stage, well, to get up and give your presentation for whatever it is. So that part of it you do need to schedule with your vice president of education at the club or whoever's doing the scheduling, because I know people pass it off between members. All right. So far we have covered how to get into Basecamp, where the educational transcript is, how to get that check mark next to your project, when to get your VPE involved, and the fact that my cat likes cat videos. I'd say we're doing pretty good considering we're only 25 minutes in. I mean, we have the world to go. I've got a copy of War and Peace right here. In case we've got some dead time, I can read a few chapters. Yeah, okay, good. We're with me. All right. Now, let's check the next list item here because I had a bunch of questions came popping up. And those of you who know, I was offline last week. Okay, yes. Now, a very important point of information is when you complete a level. So let's go back to level 1 and look at that briefly. Once you get down to this bottom box, which is the level completion box, if you've done each of your projects, this box over here, and I actually have a presentation on that one. I wonder if I've got it queued up. Ding, ding, ding. Is it? Nope, that's the assessment. That one won't work. Bum, bum, bum. Because I took some screenshots, level 1 completion, there it is. We'll take a look at this one. We took some screenshots because they have a tendency to disappear once you do the project. Okay, here we are looking at my screen for completion of level 1. You can see that I had completed all 3 of the projects, and the final box, the level 1 completion, you have the nice red box that said mark complete, and there's no check mark. If we go back to the browser, you'd see there's a check mark there now. Well, once you have done each of the projects, click on the mark complete button. Once you do that, a pop-up window pops up, as pop-up windows are known to do. They pop up everywhere, with a Toastmasters Pathways level 1 completion layout. And this is the same layout no matter what level you're doing. So this would be level 2, level 3, level 4, etc. Telling you what the process is to go through. First, you hit the mark complete button. Then you notice the status completion is pending approval. Then once the magic happens in the background, which we'll get to in a moment, you come back and you see that you now have a completed symbol next to your project, and you can view your certificate. All right. Here, as you can see, on mine, it said pending completion approval, and that red box, this box right here, has changed because I clicked on the mark complete. It's now back to launch, which is its default once I've marked it complete. Once I clicked on that, the system itself generates an email and sends that out. If you look down here, this right here with the bar, dear Vice President of Education, a member of your club has reached an important milestone in Toastmasters Pathways learning experience. Well, okay, maybe it's not English. This email is sent out to whomever your club has on file as the email contact individual. Many clubs don't necessarily have their VPE listed as the contact. Now, in the upper left, you will see that I have a question, which club are you doing this for? And it was sent to me by the treasurer of our club, who was the club contact at that time. I will get to that in just a moment, but it's very important that the email that you have on file as your contact for the club is an email that the Vice President of Education has access to and or will receive directly, because that is where level completion requests are sent. This is where you check how or who is that person or that nefarious person that is your club contact. Go into Toastmasters, into the box in the upper right-hand corner, which is the universal search. You start typing in club, and in fact, open curriculum. I'm going to switch back to the live shot of the screen because you get what you get. Boom, boom. Okay, go with, nope. That's the one I wanted right there. That's it. So in this upper box here, the search box, if you start typing club, whichever club that you are currently logged into as a member, that club pops up here, Basecamp Manager. As you can see, 1360. That is the number for New Horizons. Once you click on that, it will take you to the club profile page. And on the profile page, it shows you the email address of the individual who is receiving the level completion requests inside of Pathways. Now, by a strange coincidence, this also happens to be the email address that Toastmasters International has on file for anyone who is contacting your club through their webpage for questions or wanting to come visit you. It is the same email, and it is updated in the same place, which is under the Club Central on the main page of the Toastmasters page, website, which I'm sure I can show you in just a moment. So once you have seen whomever is, there we go, completion request. Yay. Man, I'm getting good at this. Not quite. And, oh, we started over again. All right, so just once you start to think you're doing something good, here we go. Now, once I've verified that the VPE of my club was receiving the level completion requests, I went back in. The VPE did his magic in the background. You can see that that level 1 box has changed and now has a check mark in it, which is showing that I have completed level 1 of presentation mastery. At that point, this is actually a picture of me at that point. Yes, I was a bit two-dimensional at that time, but I was very happy for that very fact. Now, let's go back to right in here. So once again, you search through the search box to find out who your club contact is. Clicking on that will bring up the profile, which shows that they are the person receiving emails. So if this email is someone other than your Vice President of Education, make sure that someone then forwards the level completion request on to the next person in the chain, which is either the Vice President of Education, the Secretary, or the President, because those 3 people have the power to complete level completion requests inside of Basecamp Manager. Now, that does not end the level completion. It is a 2-step process. This is the first step. This step is how you complete a level within Pathways. Now I'm going to show you how you get credit for it once you have completed a level, where your VPE needs to go in order for you to get credit and for your club to get credit. To do that, you need to return, or the VPE needs to return to the front page of Toastmasters International and go to the Leadership Central tab. There, they need to click on Club Central. Oh, really? It's not here anymore? Okay, there used to be a box right here that said submit. Oh, now I know why. There used to be a box that said submit educational awards. Well, it's not here, and I think I can show you why. Let me close Toastmasters really quick and then come back into it, because the pop-up message, come on, pop up, pop up. Oh, you didn't pop up. Well, anyway, when you first log in, there is a yellow pop-up message about the year-end, not survey, well, the year-end closeout that they're doing for all their materials inside of Pathways. And one of the things it says is disabled is educational award filings. If I remember absolutely correct, I believe that that has been disabled until the 3rd of January. I'm going to try and get that to pop back up again, because that is the reason why we don't see the educational tab showing. No, it's not going to pop up for me because I've already been here. Okay, if you log into go to Toastmasters website right now, you will see kind of a yellow banner at the top with a warning about the fact that they are not processing educational awards until January 3rd, if I remember from memory, because I did read it just a little bit ago. So after January 3rd, thank you. After January 3rd, go to Club Central after you log in. Yes, logging in is very important. And inside of Club Central, there is another box which is Submit Educational Awards. That is the second part that is absolutely necessary for a member to receive Toastmasters International credit for completing the level and for the club to receive credit towards the Distinguished Club Program. If the Vice President of Education only completes the first part and does the level completion, then the member is able to move forward in pathways, which is a great thing and needs to happen. But they will not get credit for having received their level completion, and the club won't get credit for that either. Now, those show up. If anyone is interested in finding where those show up, I will show you as a bonus tidbit on the daily reports inside of Educational Achievements current year of the Distinguished Club Program. And we're going to District 7. We're just going to go to Educational Achievements for the current year. And then it gives this whole list of everybody that has gotten an award. You click on the award here, it'll sort it by award. Look at all of these Pathways awards that have shown up. Well, these right here are the HPLPs. But this, absolutely incredible, because just a few weeks ago, there were not nearly this many awards. And a large part of that, I believe, is because of this confusion about the two-step process of making sure the awards are registered with Club Central. It seemed to make sense that once the VPE registered the level completion inside of Pathways, that Toastmasters would know and record that. But at this time, that is not the case. I believe they'll probably merge that later on once Pathways is the program that covers all programs. Once that happens, I believe that that will be a seamless one-step process. But for now, it needs to be a two-step process to make sure that the members receive credit for the projects they're doing. And by projects, I mean completing levels inside of Pathways. So this is where you can find that. It is under the Toastmasters International. Let me go back to toastmasters.org because I went really quick to get there. Click on the Leadership tab, then the Distinguished Performance Report. Once you're in Distinguished Performance Report, I go to Daily Reports. Then I click on Educational Achievements for current year. I need to select my district number. Then I need to click Educational Achievements current year again. Now this is how I do it. There may be another process to get here. And then this shows all of the awards for the current year that have been logged in by members in District 7. And you can scroll through and see that there's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff, which is really cool. Because at this point of the year, yeah, lots of good awards going on there. And you can sort this. Each of the headings is a hot link. So if I clicked award, it would sort them alphabetically by award, as you can see, last to first. Or you click on member name, it'll sort them per member name. So as you can see here, Michelle already has took three awards this year. Woo! Go, Michelle! Good job. She's got a triple crown. Yeah, got a triple crown. That's how you can see what awards are being logged in. Now, if you have completed an award and you haven't received notification from Toastmasters that you have, look here, or better yet, check out the next edition of Voices, because Phyllis puts a full list of educational awards into every Voices magazine for the awards that people have received. And that's actually how this came up, because I had people contacting me saying, hey, my award's not in Voices. How come it's not being recorded? So it's a very good thing to check those to find out if your award has been credited to you and your club. Most definitely your club. All right, we are flying. It is 7:40, and I'm going to open it up for some questions at this point because I've been talking nonstop for 40 minutes. Woo! So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or send them. Uh-oh, I see that I've got chats. Oh, I haven't even been looking at chats.
Nah, don't worry about the chats. So while James is looking at the chats, this is not a question. I just wanted to applaud James. This is one of the best webinar series that I've attended, and we have several in different places of the world. Let's give James a big hand. Woo, woo, woo.
Hey,
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, Any other questions? Or, I mean, I'm open to praise. You can just keep it going, but it'll get old after a while. Okay. All right. Hearing none, I am going to show you where to find evaluation resources as our bonus for this session. I've gone back to Toastmasters, clicked on the Pathways. I'm at the front page of Pathways Learning Experience, and I'm logging in as a member in my club. Oh, nope, I'm not going to show you that. I remembered what I wanted to show you. There are, let's see. There are a couple different ways, and I'm going to go ahead and mute you, Michelle, because I'm getting feedback from your microphone there. Okay, good, thanks. There are a couple different ways to get an evaluation from yourself to the person you're evaluating. The number one way that I have been preaching so far is through email. Secondarily, hand it to them at the meeting, or you could actually mail it to them through the mail, which, you know, not many people use that except for Christmas cards, but not even that anymore. But primarily it's been through email, because you can get your evaluation resources on Pathways, and the easiest place is right here under speech evaluations. You click on speech evaluations, scroll down the page, and this is a list of absolutely every single evaluation for every single project inside of Pathways, irregardless, that's not a word, regardless of what path you're on. Every single one is here. This one right here, make connections through networking, is what I'm going to click on. That opens a training details icon, which now shows up on your educational transcript because you opened something. And then once you click launch, that opens in a pop-up window as a PDF. Now, if I want to grab this form so that I can evaluate somebody, what I usually do is download it to my computer and then print it out and take it to a meeting and evaluate, or I give it to my evaluator if I'm doing the presentation. You can also download the form and type into it directly. If you take your computer there, or if you have a tablet device, you can type directly into the form. It is editable once you have downloaded it. Actually, let me cancel that. As you can see right here, I'm clicking on the form and I don't get a typing icon. Nothing shows up. But if I click my download and I select open in Adobe Acrobat Reader DC, this will download the PDF and open it in Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. And now you can see I can type directly onto the form. This now becomes an editable form where I can add mumbo jumbo stuff. Each of these fields down below is a full box. You can add information there. All of these, the number categories are radio boxes. So you click and you can change the numbers there or add your comments as such. Once you have typed in your information, do a file save as, because it's not going to let you save over the original file. If you click save, it'll ask you where do you want to put it and what do you want to name it. So then you can do that naming convention. Once I do that, especially if I haven't given this evaluation to the person directly in the meeting. Going back to the page. Yeah. What I'll do is oftentimes I will email that evaluation to the person, but there is another way to get it to them, and that is what I will show you right now. So let's go back to the home. And okay, for this, I'm going to say that I just did an evaluation for a member of my club. Her name is Gabrielle Proust. So I began typing her name into the search box. It brings her up as a member. I click on her name. This will take me to her profile. This is now, I'm looking at her profile and her information. If I want to send her the email, not the email, if I want to send her a copy of the evaluation that I just gave her, but I don't want to email it to her, I can click on feedback. This will bring me to the feedback page. And here I can type in, here is your eval. And then click on this paperclip icon right here. Once I click on that paperclip icon, I can attach a file to this posting on their feedback page. If you scroll down, you can see that's exactly what I did back here on the 3rd of December. This is the networking evaluation that I posted here for Gabrielle. She then went into her profile, was able to open up this evaluation. And so this is a way around email. You can get an evaluation to a member directly through Pathways as opposed to having to email it to them. But there are a couple things going on. She was not able to move this evaluation from this location into her e-portfolio directly. What she had to do was download the evaluation and then re-upload it to her documents. So she wasn't able to transfer it directly across, which is what I was kind of hoping that would happen. And then I asked her if she would do the same thing back for me by uploading a file so that I could show people what it looked like. Well, I wasn't logged into the club, so therefore she couldn't do it for me, which is a very important comment about making sure if you have a home club that you want to interact with people, to make sure you leave your profile logged into that club so that those people can interact with you when you're not online. Because she started typing my name and it said, sorry, you have no permissions to go where this person's profile is, because I was logged in as a Pathways guide. And I will show you what that looks like, because I believe if I start typing in Phyllis's name, yep, it doesn't even pop up. So one of my club members is not currently logged into this club, which does kind of make it difficult to interact with them. This, if I have a list of hopes and wishes for the future, one of my wishes for Toastmasters is that we'd be able to interact with club members no matter which club they're logged into. I don't know exactly how that would be fixed, but that would be my wish if I had a wish. So maybe at some point they'll address that. I don't know if they will, but I'm hoping that the Pathways gods will smile upon us at some point and give us the ability to maybe just post something for them to find next time they come in. That would be great. But yeah, it's a quibble. I can get around it. I just send her an email. So this is where you can get an evaluation to another member in your club. Okay. Then I did comment about the ePortfolio, so let me show you that real quick. To get to your own ePortfolio, which is Pathways' own version of cloud storage, you can get to it several different ways. You can either click on the My Feedback or the My Badges button. It'll take you to the next page where you can get to them. If I click on My Badges, you see up here across the white bar, I've got Basecamp Profile, Feedback, Transcript, and ePortfolio. ePortfolio is exactly where I want to go. So then I click on the ePortfolio. This takes me to Documents and Badges. We were in the Badges screen. We just saw that one. By clicking on Documents, this is taking me into my cloud storage that is already set up within Pathways. In other words, every single member has this. Every single member has the exact same 6 folders that are named level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and My Documents. And every single member does not have the ability to rename them. Yes, these are the folders that you get. We cannot rename them. We cannot create new folders, but you can move stuff around in between the folders. It also tells you that you have the number of files that you have in each of those folders. To my knowledge, there is no limit to the number of files, but there is a limit to the size of the files. The file size limit is, from what I've read, 40 megabytes. Now, one of these days, I'm going to test that by trying to upload a file that's 41 megs, and we'll see if that works. To get into your files, you can see how the boxes kind of highlight when I hover over the top of them. Well, if I click on those, nothing happens. To get into that file, uh-oh. Whoa, it made a liar of me. For some reason, it just popped right into that one. Oh, okay, now I see why. Ha-ha! What you need to do is, so you can see how I hover and that there's an underline right underneath level 5 that keeps showing up. where my mouse goes, this whole line right across here and right across here. Once the word itself has the underline, it becomes a hyperlink. You can then click on it and it will take you into that folder. So this is my level 3 folder where I have an icebreaker evaluation resource that I put in here for demonstration purposes, and then a storytelling eval. On the right-hand side, you have the open and delete options. You can also open them by simply clicking on the hyperlink, and it will open that for you. This was a storytelling that, it's an evaluation that Eric did for me. So then I was able to just upload it and stick it right here in my folder. Yay!
It's when the pointer becomes a finger, because some links are always underlined.
Okay, yes, thank you. Absolutely. Whoops, did I just kill my browser? I think I just killed my browser. Oh, my goodness. As Serena said, yep, I sure did. I killed the browser. But I didn't kill the session because I can see you're still moving. That's good. I haven't taken all the oxygen out of the air yet. Oh, there it is. There it is. The attention, the yellow banner. And club officers cannot submit membership orders, new member fees, renewals, or educational awards online between December 12th and January 3rd. So that means that no educational awards can be processed between the 12th and the 3rd. That's why we couldn't see that Submit Educational Award button under the Club Central, because it's been disabled. Online store and sections of Club Central unavailable. Yep, so they must be doing some updates to their to the web page. Okay, so now I'm going to log back in again. And go to our Pathways tab, access path through Basecamp, log in as a member. I'm back in my feedback. Now I'm going to my ePortfolio and into my documents. And now we are back to the place where I closed my browser. Yes, as Serena said, if you look, my mouse goes from a pointer to a finger. Once you get the finger, ooh, isn't that, well, there's potential. Once you find the finger, all right, I don't know how to make that any better, but once your pointer turns into an index finger, you can then click on the link and it will take you into that file so that you can save documents. Like here in level 5, I have nothing. I can click on the Add File button, select a file from over here in my whole list. I can grab something and put it in there. And here's another one too. See this one down here? It says adding onto this. When I select this file, it tells me the file name is too long. So be aware, they don't allow long file names in their saving. All the rest of these will go in just fine, but this one that has just a few more characters will not be allowed to be updated. So be aware that if you can't upload it, it may be because the file name's too long. But otherwise, you click on that, you click open, it sticks it in the queue. You have logged in from another device. Messenger is now active. Well, why, thank you. And then I can add that in, and it becomes an item that I have inside of my level 5. Great. And then if you have something in here you don't want anymore, you can simply delete it. And you say, yes, delete. Now, inside of documents, you can, like I was saying, you have all of the room you can store documents in. My intention is that I will store the evaluations for the current path that I am working on inside of the levels. And then once I've completed that current path, I'll probably move those into my documents. Now, something that I just realized is that there is no way to physically move this to a new location. What I would have to do is open it, download it if I don't have it on my computer, and then re-upload it to the other file, because it doesn't give me the option to move, which is another, it's something I'd like for the wish list if we were wishing. So that if I was to put anything into my documents file, it would be the same way, by simply adding a file from my computer as opposed to dragging it from another folder. All right. So now I have successfully talked for another 15 minutes and answered only one question. We are at 5 minutes till. I'll open it up for a general comment or a general question. Yeah, we could do a question. And then I am going to need to jump out of here about 7:59 because I have another meeting right after this on a different Zoom platform. So do we have anyone that has a question, comment, or something they would like to see in the future presentation? And if it's Brad Pitt, forget about it.
Hey, James, this is
Yeah.
Patrick.
Yes, Patrick.
Will you be doing some training as far as going into the, for the VPE secretary, president, going into the
Oh, you mean
system and doing work there?
Basecamp manager?
Yes.
Well, the short answer is no. And the reason behind that is I'm not a president, a secretary, or a VPE in any of my clubs, so I don't have any access to Basecamp Manager. So I am unable to do any tutorials.
Okay. So if we set something up, I'd like to do that then.
Yeah. No, that's an area that definitely, now that people are completing levels, the VPEs are needing training on how to take care of the backside of that. Yep.
Yeah, I've learned some. I'm attempting to get more people on it so that I've got something to do in there. One of the things that I did with the notification, the email notification for the club, is I set up an email in Google for the club. And then I put that into the system, to the TI system. And then I went into Google and I have that forwarded to all three of us, to the president, the VPE, and the secretary. So all three of those officers get the same emails. And if one misses something, somebody will see it.
That's a great system. Yeah, I've heard many clubs are putting something in place along those lines. I've also heard that some clubs are just simply filtering emails. They set up a rule in their emails that if an email comes through with this very specific heading, then it's shot off to the right person. So whichever system gets the level completion emails where they need to go, I'm totally behind it.
Okay.
Yep. Cool. Thank you very much. All right. We're at 7:58. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This was a good return. The last session before Christmas, so you got your Pathways Virtual Academy out of the way before Christmas happens. So now you don't have to stress out about, oh my goodness, that last minute Pathways virtual session. All right. Maybe I was the only one that was stressing out about it. But I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and holiday season. I will be back here next Tuesday night. And my schedule shows pretty much for each of the remaining Tuesdays all the way through. I think I've got set up through March now. I'm just going to keep doing it. And as people need help, we'll go for it. So thank you all very much and have a great evening.
Thanks, James. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, James. Merry Christmas, everyone.